So, this is my presentation about my informative speech that is about the bombings in Japan. That's the topic my partner and I chose. And so, the first question we asked ourselves was, how did the bombings affect Japan? So, it wiped out 90% of each city, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it killed immediately 80,000 people. So it is an stunning number because it just happened in like a few seconds. It was they dropped the bomb, and in after maybe 30 seconds, everything was destroyed. A lot of people was completely incinerated. Like the shadows of the people was like pasted in the walls in the streets because of the intense heat they had to suffer. So not only that, also many people died like 20 to 30 days after the bombings because of the long-term effects that were caused by the radiation. So the radiation, for your understanding, when they drop the bomb and the bomb explodes, it releases a wave of heat that destroys and incinerates and burns everything that is in its way. But not only that, that wave has also a lot of radiation, and that radiation stays in the bodies, in the buildings, in the environment of where the bomb was dropped. And this was the cause of many, many, many diseases. For example, the leukemia rates they increased. They also not only leukemia but other types of cancer. They also increased, and also things like the not only that the people that lived at the moment were affected by the bombs, but also the people that were that were born after that. So because of the defects in birth the radiation caused. Um, so as I said, 6,000 people died after the bombing. So the social impact that these bombings had in Japan, it was incredibly strong for the civilians. Not only like in terms of violence and destructions, but also in the society itself, because many people they were discriminated and they were treated differently because they survived the bombs, so they were infected with the radiation, so they struggled a lot finding jobs or partners because nobody wanted to marry someone that was infected or sick, or that their kid could like be born with a defect because of the bombings. Um, so you can imagine the amount of trauma these people had to suffer because they saw their lives turn upside down. They like the cities were destroyed, their houses. Many of their family died. They were recovering from injuries, and not only that, they were treated like lepers. So it had to be very frustrating and very uh, psychologically difficult for them to overcome this problem. Now talking about Japan itself, it also um, it also affected it politically and economically. Japan was completely like those cities were completely destroyed. So a lot of the government's budget was spent on recovering that those cities, which made it also almost like they almost broke. They almost went broke. So it affected Japan in many different ways. But like moving on, it also affected and had consequences in the Second World War because after the Allies defeated the Nazis, the only country that was still standing up against the U.S. and the Soviet Union and like all the other countries that were part of the Allies um, was Japan. And Japan, for them, they wanted to end up the war as quickly as they could because it was affecting the economy of many countries. It was killing a lot of people, and the war was on for 5 years. So it was a long time and many people died. The governments were very suffering the consequences of everything that the war did and made happen. So yeah, and it also created a lot of tension between the U.S. And the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union was yeah, that's what. Then they end up getting into a war called the Cold War, and they secretly started inventing nuclear weapons because after what happened in Japan, the whole world saw what the nuclear weapon was capable of doing. So a lot of countries started developing this technology so they could be in they could defend themselves if another war came up. Um, so yeah, these also made the U.S. The biggest global power because since the war took place in Europe, and after it ended, all the countries were trying to reconstruct every city and like recovering from the war. The U.S. Was lending money and they were doing businesses that helped them increase their economy, which ultimately made them become the biggest potence of this century in the world. Um, so yeah, in conclusion, the bombs were extremely cruel and destructive. Not even the scientists and the U.S. military knew how how this was gonna turn up. This the destruction and everything that the bombs did to Japan was unimaginable, and it was pretty traumatizing for everybody. So it approximately end up that two 250,000 people end up dying, and so for this is like an example and works as an example for the next wars and the government's issues that they have with each other. That we as a society cannot let this happen, cannot let a war with these powerful weapons happen because we as humans we will not um, be able of controlling it and survive it because it's too strong. Thank you.